You are staring at a number right now. Maybe it is a bank balance, maybe it is a paycheck, maybe it is the age on your last birthday cake. And somewhere underneath that number is a quiet math you run at night. How much more do I need, and how fast can I get it? You have told yourself that the answer to every money worry is a bigger number. More income, more hustle, more. At least that is the story you have been telling yourself. Stay with me, because the reason you feel behind has almost nothing to do with how much you earn. And the fix is something you can start before you turn 50, no raise required. Let me show you someone. His name was Marcus, 43, and he made $147,000 a year. On paper, a winner. In reality, he was staring at a checking account that read $2,300 4 days before payday, with a mortgage, 2 leases, and a credit line he paid down every month and quietly refilled by the 22nd. He had spent 20 years chasing the raise, and every time it landed, his life rose up to swallow it. A bigger paycheck bought a bigger version of the same problem. The house got larger, the cars got nicer, the balance stayed thin. He did not have a discipline problem. He had a sequencing problem, and sequencing problems are invisible until someone points them out. Here is what almost nobody tells you before 50. The people who look like they are winning the income race are often the ones with the least actual freedom. And the plain, unremarkable ones, the neighbor in the 10-year-old Toyota, the coworker who never talks about money, are frequently the ones who could walk away tomorrow and be fine. The gap between looking secure and being secure does all the work. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So before you turn 50, do this. Not earn more. This. Stop measuring your money by what comes in, and start measuring it by what stays. Income is the number the world sees. Wealth is the number that stays after the world takes its cut. Marcus earned $147,000 and kept almost none of it, because he had wired his entire life to the assumption that the next raise would fix everything. The raise was never the problem. The raise was the trap. Every dollar more he made gave him permission to spend $1.10. Read that again slowly. He was running faster on a treadmill that sped up every time he did. The first move is brutally simple and almost nobody does it. Pay yourself before you pay the world. Most people save whatever is left at the end of the month. And the end of the month is a graveyard where good intentions go to die. There is never anything left. Because life is an expanding gas, it fills whatever container you give it. So you flip the sequence. The money moves to savings and investments the day it arrives, automatically, before your eyes ever see it in the spending account. You do not budget your way to wealth through willpower. You engineer it so the good decision happens without you. Watch what that does over time, because the number will surprise you. Say you are 42, like Marcus, and you decide to automate $600 a month into a low-cost index fund. Not glamorous. Roughly the cost of one upgraded car lease. Over the next 23 years, until you are 65, at a long-run average return of around 7%, that quiet $600 becomes something near $430,000. You did not get a raise. You did not pick a hot stock. You changed the sequence. Pay yourself first. Let it compound. Do not touch it. The money you were already spending simply started building you a future instead of a slightly nicer present. That is the whole secret, and it is almost boring. The boring part is why it works. Now here is the part everyone misses. The reason you cannot get ahead is not that you lack the money. It is that you are quietly financing an image. Consider Dana, 38. A marketing director who earned $92,000 and felt perpetually broke. When she finally wrote it all down, she found $1,400 a month leaking into things that existed purely to signal a life she thought she was supposed to have. The car payment 2 tiers above what she needed. The apartment in the neighborhood that looked right. The subscriptions, the dinners, the small constant upgrades that each felt like nothing and together felt like drowning. None of it was stupidity. She had been marinating in a feed that showed her everyone else's highlight reel and none of their debt. The comparison was engineered. She was losing a game she did not know she had been enrolled in. She did one thing first. She muted it. She unfollowed the accounts that made her want, and she stopped seeing the upgrades as normal. Within 3 months, that $1,400 leak became a $900 monthly investment. And the strange part was she did not feel deprived. She felt lighter. The wanting had been the weight the whole time. That is the trap of the years before 50. You spend your peak earning decade buying proof that you are doing well. And the proof is exactly what keeps you from actually doing well. The people you are trying to impress are not thinking about you. They are too busy trying to impress someone else. It is turtles all the way down, and the only way to win is to quietly step off. Let me give you the reframe that changes how you see every purchase. Every time you spend money, You are not choosing between the expensive thing and the cheap thing. You are choosing between the thing and your future freedom. A $50,000 car versus a reliable $25,000 one is not a $25,000 decision. Invest that difference at 7% for 25 years and it becomes roughly $135,000. So the real question in the showroom was never, can I afford the payment? It was, is this car worth $135,000 of future freedom? Framed that way, most upgrades lose instantly. Sit with that the next time something shiny asks for your signature. Here is a man who understood this without ever earning big. Raymond spent his whole career as a high school teacher, never cracking $58,000 a year. By the standard the world uses, he should have retired with nothing. Instead, he retired at 62 with just under $900,000. He did not inherit it. He did not get lucky in the market. He simply automated a modest amount every single month for 35 years into boring broad market funds. And he never once tried to look richer than he was. He drove used cars. He kept the same house. He let time and consistency do the thing that hustle promises but rarely delivers. Trajectory beat position. It almost always does. Compare Raymond to Marcus for a second. Marcus out-earned Raymond nearly 3-to-1 for 2 decades. And Raymond ended up wealthier and free. If that does not rearrange something in your chest, read it again. The lesson before 50 is not make more like Marcus. It is keep more like Raymond. Now watch how this compounds when you stop leaking and start sequencing. There is a concept the wealthy understand in their bones that the rest of us are never taught. The difference between an asset and a liability, told not by what it is but by what it does to your account each month. An asset feeds you. A liability eats you. The boat, the third bedroom you never enter. The car that loses value every mile, these eat. The index fund, the paid-off skill that raises your income. The rental that covers itself, these feed. Most people before 50 accumulate a garage full of things that eat and call it success. The quietly wealthy accumulate a portfolio of things that feed and drive a used car past all of it. If this is landing, take 1 second and subscribe. This channel breaks down the real numbers every week, without the shame and without the hype. Now, the next part is where it separates the people who talk about money from the ones who quietly build it. Because here is the shift that matters most before 50, and it is not about money at all. It is about time. When you are 25, time is the one asset you own in absurd abundance and value at zero. When you are 45, you finally understand what it is worth, and you have less of it to deploy. This is the real reason to act now rather than later. Every year you wait is not a linear loss, it is exponential. Because compounding does its heaviest lifting in the final stretch, and the final stretch only exists if you started early enough to have one. Let me prove it with 2 people the same age. Both are 40. Both invest $500 a month at 7%. The only difference is Aisha starts today, and Peter waits just 7 years because he is sure the raise is coming and he will really get serious then. At 65, Aisha has around $340,000. Peter, having missed only 7 years, has around $185,000. Same monthly amount, same return. A 7-year delay cost Peter roughly $155,000. Read that number again. The waiting was more expensive than the investing. There is no raise on earth that quietly hands you $150,000 for doing nothing but starting sooner. And yet that is exactly what starting sooner does. This is why chase more money is the wrong prayer for the years before 50. More money, dropped into a broken sequence, just leaks faster. You do not have an income problem. You have never had an income problem. You have a keep and compound problem, and no raise will ever fix a keep and compound problem. It will only make the leak more expensive. So here is what the reframe looks like once it fully lands. The neighbor with the pristine new SUV and the boat may be one bad month from panic. The coworker in the modest car who never mentions money may already be free and simply too quiet to say so. The size of the life you can see tells you almost nothing about the security underneath it. Often it tells you the opposite, because the money spent making a life look secure is the exact money that would have made it actually secure. Once you see that inversion, you stop envying the wrong people. You stop performing wealth and start building it. The plain ones were the rich ones the whole time. Now let me make this doable, because the point was never to shame you into a monk's life. Small, boring moves win. Start with one honest question before any purchase over $100. Am I buying this for me, or for the version of me other people are supposed to see? That single question kills more waste than any budget. Next, automate one transfer. Pick a number that stings slightly but does not break you, and route it to savings and investments the day your pay lands, before you can feel it. Then mute the feed that makes you want You cannot unwant what you keep watching, so stop watching it. Park your emergency cash in a high-yield savings account where it actually earns something instead of rotting at near zero in a big bank checking account. And when you invest, start in the calm corner, a low-cost, broad market index fund, not the loud, thrilling corner that separates excited people from their money. None of that requires a bigger paycheck. All of it requires a different sequence. That is the entire difference between Marcus and Raymond, between Peter and Aisha, between the life that looks secure and the life that is. If this reframe cracked something open, the next thing to watch is the one on the real foundations, how to build a simple money system from zero, in plain language, no jargon. It pairs with everything you just heard. So come back to that number you were staring at when this started. The paycheck, the balance, the age on the cake. You thought the answer was to make it bigger, but the number was never the problem. The sequence around it was. You do not need to chase more before you turn 50. You need to keep more, automate more, compare less, and start now, because time is the one thing no raise can buy back. Do that, and the plain, quiet, unremarkable life becomes the one everybody else is secretly trying to afford. The richest thing you can do with money is stop letting it prove something. Then it is finally free to build you.